Hi folks, Dino Bob here, coming to you from Lost Kingdom today. And we're going to look at our new Jurassic animal, Dilophosaurus. We're starting out here in the first plaza, and we're going to go through the court on our way to this animal's habitat. If you may recall, previously I said I was having a problem with some control in getting stuff to work. And I ended up going back to an older save. And so this whole quadrant on the right of this main plaza is pretty much the way it was. So no big change. So we go through into the Jurassic section of the park. We have Dilophosaurus on the left and our new habitat here on the right. So we're going to turn in and go into this viewing pavilion. The usual standards of signs and binoculars and some seats. Oh, there's one way out there. Oh, and one closer. So yeah, there are two animals, a male and a female in here. And from this pavilion, our guests can get a good selection of views from this portion of the habitat. And it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Going out there by the meat. Is he going to get hungry? Let's pop through and see. Maybe? No, never mind. We'll likely get to see somebody eating later. Right now, we're going to pull back out and move over and go out the far central gate of the plaza, past the Dilophosaurus habitat on the left, to the other viewpoint for the Dilophosaurus. It's on the opposite side of the habitat. So we go around, crossing the water here, and on our left, through those rocks, is the Dilophosaurus exhibit. Not really a good angle to view them from here, but if you go over that little bridge, there is a place you can see them. So we're going to go down to this little sheltered alcove. I see I have some plants to move. And duck your heads, and in we go. This is a place where the guests can get up close to these animals, but still far enough away that they won't be feeding fingers. There is one up there feeding. Trying to line it up so we can see him. And he's done. So this is the feathered skin of Dilophosaurus, the only one that is feathered at this time. And that won't likely change unless one of the VIPs decides to choose this animal and this feathered skin for adaptation for their own skin. That is part of the VIP package. So pulling up, get a quick overview of where the habitat is, how large it is. These are two predators and they need a lot of space. Basically, you only want one in the space allotted, so if you're going to have two, you need to have space for two animals worth. We're going to look at this again and a little bit later in the video, and I'll point out some other things about the habitat. For now, let's take ourselves down and into the habitat and take a tour inside for a change. This is just outside that second viewing point, and we've gone through the bars and turned right. You can see the wall goes around to a shelter building for the animal that's currently munching out there. And to our left is the raised area where we saw the animal feeding on that blood pumpkin a little while ago. So we go up the top here and come back down the other side. And this water is the same water that we passed over on our way to that second viewpoint. And it's moving through this exhibit and coming out the other side. So we have a tired Dilophosaurus who's going to go to sleep. You can see rock facing on the shelter building. So basically where our guests can see it, they pretty much just see rock and openings. We cross the stream here and take a look to our left. It's a little dark, but that's where the water comes through. A little light, please. There we go. So the water would come through that opening. And it doesn't actually, but it simulates it for purposes of the game. So you can see a flash flood block there where the cursor is running. If you look very carefully and get the right angle, you'll see there are metal bars through there. And that's part of the separation of these two portions of the habitat. We're going to go up through this. Oh, hey, you're not supposed to be up there. I'm going to have to fix that, because he's totally not supposed to be able to do that, because this is supposed to be a separated habitat. You can see the little bit of wall here and what is intended to be a gate on the left, so that these two portions can be closed off, separating the male and the female. He's not supposed to be able to come over the rocks like that. Anyway, so in this portion, there's the log jam again on the right, and looking around we can see that viewing pavilion we were in earlier. Oh, here he comes. You gonna be a good boy this time? Yeah, and that's how it's supposed to work when the gates open. And they can come around and use this passage to move between the two portions of the exhibit. Presumably during breeding season. They probably don't like to be around each other otherwise. So we'll move closer to the viewing pavilion, and there's the buildings around the central plaza, and just ahead of us, where we're going now, is that raised portion. This is where he was when he hopped up on that rock and came over where he shouldn't have been. But there's intended, is what I meant to say, a little elevated area here where the animal can get up and come toward the edge of it and get to Dilophosaurus height. And he can see the raised portion of the Coelophysis exhibit from here. So there might be occasional visual enrichment for him. I don't see any right now, but they do have a tendency to pop out at the moment, even though escapes are not a thing. Back down into the habitat proper and head over toward the other side of it. Directly ahead of us, I think. Just to the right, basically where the reeds are and such, there is the outflow gate for the water in the habitat. And there's a shallow portion, which is this time just in front of us, for the animal to cross over and get into the care building. I didn't lavish a lot of time on the care buildings, at least not yet. There are two separate portions in there, one serving each of the two portions of the habitat. They both have skylights, and there are skylights in the behind the scenes portion of the building as well. But you can see that the building itself is pretty well hidden. So let's go back across the stream, and that pretty much concludes the tour of the habitat. And we'll be popping back inside through the glass and coming out of the pavilion and following the walk where it goes a little bit further. It doesn't go much further right now, but there's another habitat intended to be beyond here. And we're going to come down to the gate into the backstage area. Just a little simple gate, and trying to hold on to the Lost Kingdom theme with its framing. We're going to pop through, and you can see the access to the building and the water coming through on the other side. This will be extended further in the future. But this building is essentially a bridge over that water. So another aerial view, this time from the other side, to give you a little bit different perspective, and you can see the main commercial plaza in the upper right corner. So I'm going to use the cursor once we settle on a position and show you the rough outlines of where each half of the exhibit is. And there's the second half on the back side. So that's the concept on this one. Coming up on the end, we've got a couple of videos of Dilophosaurus in play. Giving a call. And I'll be continuing on in Lost Kingdom, assuming all the updates don't screw things up too badly. I know I've got a lot of rock work in here that may be facing a lot of revision when the next update. Well, maybe the update that just happened by the time you see this, but the next scheduled update when I film this is going to come with a rock update, so we'll see how that goes. I hope you enjoyed stopping by Lost Kingdom today, and maybe you'll be back for some more. I know I will. Till then, y'all take care of yourself and be kind to each other out there. Dilophosaurus are sort of laying down here in the late afternoon sun. Probably going to take a nap. Doesn't sound like that bad of an idea. Anyway, so that's it for today. Dino Bob, wishing you all well and signing off until the next visit to Lost Kingdom or whatever else I do, if you like seeing what I do.